In 2015, at the United Nations Conference on Sustainable Development in Rio de Janeiro, world leaders adopted the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and came into effect in 2016. We're going to be talking about the Sustainable Development Goal number 15, which is life on land. What is the goal of SDG 15? The goal is to sustainably manage forests, combat desertification, halt and reverse land degradation, and halt biodiversity loss. From the food we eat, the water we drink, and to the air we breathe, we are sustained by forest. Forests are home to more than 80% of the terrestrial species of animals, plants, and insects. Of the 8,300 animal breeds known, 8% are extinct and 22% are at risk of extinction. Of the over 80,000 tree species, less than 1% have been studied for potential use. Around 1.6 billion people depend on forests for their livelihoods, including 70 million indigenous people, and almost 75% of the world's poor are affected by land degradation. In 120 countries, despite conservation efforts, poaching and trafficking of wildlife continues with nearly 7,000 species of animals and plants reported. By 2020, the 15th Sustainable Development Goal aims to conserve and restore terrestrial and freshwater ecosystems by ensuring the conservation, sustainability, and restoration of terrestrial ecosystems as well as inland freshwater ecosystems and their services, specifically forests, wetlands, mountains, and dry lands. End deforestation and restore degraded forests. Protect biodiversity and natural habitats by taking urgent action to reduce the degradation of natural habitats and protecting and preventing extinction of threatened species to halt the loss of biodiversity. Eliminate poaching and trafficking of protected species like flora and fauna, and address both demand and supply of illegal wildlife products. Our planet has been facing a lot of drawbacks over the years.
What the world will look like if humans don't reverse course very quickly. Some of the world's top scientists say we only have until 2030.
The environment suffers more because of lack of awareness. After a certain period of time, the effects of environmental degradation can be devastating and long-lasting. Our activities can be traced back to environmental neglect, and the effectiveness of a country's environmental protection resolution reflects that country's environmental approach. Climate change. Temperatures are rising. Closely analyzed data suggest a rather quick and broad increase in temperature over the past century, which is the most apparent evidence of a climate change trend. Precipitation patterns are changing. Rainfall varies by location, with some receiving more and others receiving less. As warmer air can store more water vapor, heavy rainfall events are becoming more common almost everywhere. Human impact. Humans are accountable for climate change. The combustion of coal, oil, and gas, according to scientists, is responsible for the vast majority of the observed warming. This conclusion is based on a thorough understanding of the greenhouse effect in the atmosphere and how it has been influenced by human activities. At the same time, other plausible causes have been ruled out, including variations in the sun. Oil, coal, and natural gas are rich in carbon and create significant volumes of carbon dioxide when burned. When a gallon of gasoline is burned, 19 pounds of carbon dioxide are released into the environment. Additional threats: pollution, excess nutrients. Plants are hampered by phosphorus and nitrogen deficiency. Plant growth is stunted in water and soils that are low in nitrogen and phosphorus. As a result, these two nutrients are considered to be the most important components of fertilizers. Excess nutrient runoff from lawns, septic systems, and livestock farms also combines with the chemicals of fertilizers. All of these nutrients have the potential to harm our rivers. Climate change pollution. The quantity of climate change pollution discharged into the atmosphere is directly proportional to the rise in global surface temperatures, according to science. Human activities such as burning fossil fuels, mainly oil, natural gas, and coal, for transportation, heat, and electricity production produce carbon dioxide, one of the most significant global warming emissions. Even if we immediately ceased using all fossil fuels, the carbon dioxide currently throughout the atmosphere would influence the climate for centuries. Overexploitation. Natural resources are those that the earth provides without requiring human involvement. They are necessary for human life, but if they are eaten at a quicker pace than their natural renewal, as is the situation now, they will become depleted. People are depleting the planet's natural resources, and unless quick steps are taken, living standards will begin to fall by 2030. The Worldwide Fund for Nature, or the WWF, cautions that present overexploitation of natural resources is causing a massive shortfall, with 20% more natural resources used each year than can be replenished, and this proportion is continuously increasing. Birds. For sport and the caged bird pet trade, several species of this genus are captured or targeted. Mainly parrots and songbirds are prized as pets. Mammals. Mammal species have long been exploited for their fur, food, sport, and horns or antlers. Mammals are captured for the proceeds that are paid, zoos, and synthetic biology, among other things. Amphibians. Amphibians are gathered and transported all over the globe for a variety of reasons, including the pet trade, medicine, education, since many biology schools dissect frogs, scientific study, and consumption, because frog legs are a delicacy in many parts of the world. Reptiles. Reptiles are collected and traded all over the world for their skins or shells, eggs, meat, and for captive breeding. Lastly, plants. Vegetation are necessary for human life and the backbone of most ecosystems. Plants are harvested for food, medicine, construction materials, and raw materials used in the manufacture of other products. However, we are harvesting too many other plants from the wild. Orchids, for example, are so coveted by collectors that they are now endangered and protected from poaching under civil conventions. Habitat loss. Species extinction and habitat loss are serious concerns all around the planet. These are problems that have been escalating in recent years. The demolition, erosion, and deterioration of habitat is known as habitat loss. While there are a variety of reasons for habitat loss, including natural and human factors, the most serious concern is how it is impacting all living creatures on the earth. The most significant consequences are on plants, animals, and the rest of humanity. Deforestation. Deprivation of trees and other plants can cause a slew of issues for indigenous people. This global issue may occur in any heavily inhabited area, But the Amazon rainforest is the epicenter of the situation. Increased greenhouse gases. The absence of trees also refers to the maximum discharge of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. Forests that are healthy absorb carbon from the air and function as significant carbon sinks. Deforested regions lose this capacity, releasing more carbon into the atmosphere. Water from the atmosphere. The trees also serve to manage the water cycle, which helps to control the amount of water in the atmosphere. There is less water in the air to return to the soil in deforested regions. As a result, the earth becomes drier, making it impossible to produce crops. Destruction of homelands. Indigenous tribes who reside there and rely on the forest to support their way of life are also under risk. Considering our own dependence on what the rainforest offers, we in the more industrialized regions of the world will never know how the loss of trees affects their way of life. Indigenous peoples have an enormously higher level of immediacy. What would it cost to correct the problem? Natural disasters caused by ecosystems disrupted by human impact and climate change already cost the world more than $300 billion per year. Deforestation and degradation results in a loss of habitat for all species, including us. In short, not taking action would impact both the health of our planet and our community as a whole. How can we preserve life on land? The United Nations has administered different sub-goals for the protection of life on land, such as to save and economize freshwater and terrestrial ecosystems, halt deforestation and restore degraded forests to protect other lives' habitats, take rapid action towards poaching and trafficking of various species since the world is losing its biodiversity at an alarming rate, which is 22% of endangered species are at the brink for extinction. And lastly, to incorporate biodiversity and ecosystem with the planning and projects of the government. But this doesn't end here. We individuals have ways to help save life on land too. A small act of help can lead to a different change. Here are some courses of action that we can do. Limit your use of paper. You might want to substitute printouts with electronic devices or carriers. Compost food scraps is one way to reduce climate impact along with recycling nutrients. Consume only what you need, such as limiting energy consumption and eating a locally based diet that is sustainably sourced. And lastly, respect the wildlife by taking part only on runs that are responsible and ethical to avoid wildlife disturbance. Why should we protect life on land? Our forests are home to more than 80% of all land-based species, and these unique ecosystems allow humans to eat, breathe, and exist. Climate change mitigation and adaptation efforts are considerably aided by maintaining certain ecosystems. Healthy ecosystems support healthy people, and well-managed protected areas help to keep people healthy. As a result, ensuring local community participation in the development and maintenance of these protected places is essential. Where to donate? Now, let's give back. This also means you're assisting nations who are in dire need of long-term economic prosperity. Similarly, successful charities' work may improve the environment by improving air quality, lowering greenhouse gas emissions, conserving habitat, and reducing hunting pressure on endangered animals. You can send your donations through www.worldwildlife.org. We have only one Earth. Let's make this world a better place.